So this is what I call MOTing your site. Now there's a whole range of videos on the YouTube channel which are labelled 1 through to however many we get to, all to do with the MOTing of the site. But first of all, for a little introduction, what I do is I come into a facility and I will first of all put on a backing track through the tutor's desk. So I play the backing track through the tutor's desk. I then walk around the room and I check to make sure that each jam hub isn't peaking. Now when I say peaking, that's the little light at the top of the jam hub above the recording section, above the top mix section. It looks like this. And what we're doing is we're checking to make sure that that light stays green and not red. So if it was turning red, then I would turn down the dial that looks like this. I turn it down enough to make sure that it wasn't peaking on red and staying on green. That would be the first job that I do. The second job that I then do is, as I was going round and I was checking each jam hub to make sure that the backing track that I'm playing through the tutor's desk isn't peaking, I would also be making sure that the instrument levels in each hub are set and set correctly. So as I'm going around and I'm checking the backing track that's coming in, I'm also checking each instrument. So I'll literally be sitting behind the drums like I am now, turning it on, getting a pair of sticks. I don't put any headphones on. All I'm doing then is just hitting each tom, hitting the snare drum, or maybe even just hitting the bass drum. And again, I'm checking to make sure that the channel 1, because of course that's what we've got the drums plugged in, isn't peaking, so that it is not turning red. And I'll do that for each instrument as I go around. The next thing that I would do is I would check the output that's going to the tutor's desk. So I'm making sure that there is enough volume travelling to the tutor's desk, so when I then I'm running a session and I'm wanting to monitor a particular position, I'm not going to be in a situation where I turn up, say, pod 3 and there's not enough volume coming from that particular pod. So that's the next thing that I would do. So I would check to make sure that the output coming out of that pod is high enough so that I can monitor it effectively at the tutor station. Before then I leave each pod, I would also be checking to make sure that the R on each soul mix, so I'd literally go around, it'd take me probably 10 seconds in each pod. I'd go around and I'd make sure that each R is turned up pretty much full. The next thing that I would check is I would go to the main desk. I've now checked each pod to make sure each pod is working as it should be. I've checked the signal coming from the tutor's desk to the pod. The next thing that I'd now be checking is I'd be checking the signal that's coming from each of the pods into the tutor's desk. So the quickest way I've found to do this is on the Juno DI keyboards. If you just hit the demo button, that will set a demo going on each of the pods. So as I'm walking around, I'll flick that button and that will run on a loop then. I'll then go back to the tutor's desk. I will plug in my headphones and I'll plug that into the art mixer channel 6, and then I would raise each fader on the tutor's desk to make sure that the signal coming from the pods is audible. And that pretty much is what I do when I'm MOTing a site.